Recording has started.
Thank you.
You can't sue me later. I've notified you in advance.
All right, got it.
It's Res Q Reggae Fridays.
No, I'll get a hold of the chat. Evan, are you like, you're not going to be active? You just got it up and running, right?
Yeah, I'll be here. I'll be here. I mean, I have to while you guys are doing this. So.
Okay, well, I'll keep an eye on the chat.
All right. So what do we want? We'll do tutorial Fridays. Friday tutorials sounds better. Friday tutorials.
See-through.
See-throughs. DJ see-through.
There you go.
Today we discuss how to make, what do you want to say? How to make HAP files.
Well, can we just do everything see-through in case everything that, anything that was an alpha file, really. Okay. Like remember how people were asking me how to make frames? Yeah. I was going to do that with Photoshop real quick if we needed to.
Today we discuss all things alpha. File, that is. With Greg Mobley and Scott King. I just like to tag all this stuff so that way all the people who watch it after the fact, just have some kind of lead-in information. Like, what is this?
A lot of people have been asking me about it. They're like, "Oh, how does this work?"
All right, stand by. We are going live in just a few seconds.
Uh-oh, watch out.
And we're live.
Sweet. What up?
It's HAP Friday.
I'm so happy for HAP.
Oh, wow. Nice wordplay.
I'm happy.
Ridiculous. So did you have something in Photoshop that you wanted to show?
Actually, bro, I was going to ask you to show me how to install it on this computer that I got. I don't remember. I remember me and you, we had this conversation. You were showing me all these, all the website to make it happen. And I'd like to go through that again.
Well, I was going to just start with making a transparent file via Photoshop as an example.
Can we start with the install the HAP codecs? Take it one step back.
If you want. Let me see what I can do here.
So it might be, hold on, there we go.
If you want.
Yeah, hold on, I'm muting that, there we go. I'm gonna make sure I got another window up so I can, any questions that come in.
Okay, so share my screen, I suppose.
Sharing the screen. Oh man, gotta fix this. What's going on here? Gotta get that. Get it right, get it tight. This is my quarantine thing right here. All right, cool.
Okay, do you see this? vdmx.vidbox.net.
Can you put that in the chat on the video,
Hey, that's a good idea.
On the Zoom chat?
You're like a professional or some sort.
You can put it in the Zoom chat and I'll just copy and paste it to the Facebook chat.
Well, I got the Facebook up too.
Oh, you got that up? All right, cool.
Yeah. Okay. So.
Because I'm going to do this right along with you.
So here you can get the converter. This is pretty important for you. That works on the Mac. And do they have a PC version? I don't see one, but we'll talk about that.
So
have you used
converter? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, the batch converter.
Because there's two links right here. There's one that you can also encode from common line using whatever FFmpeg.
Well, there's this newest one, and then
Oh, there's three. Yeah, there's three. There's three links. Which
the
one
one that I just downloaded was the batch converter, I believe.
the first one right there.
Yeah,
All right, downloading it.
I can show you what it looks like. Maybe.
avf.batch.converter.
Yep.
So when I unzip that file, it like, do I have to put that somewhere? Because it's not like a DMG file where I can just double click on it and let it do its thing.
I believe it just opens up.
If you just double click on it, open. Oh yeah, look at that. So you just stick them on there on the left, and then they're MOV files, I take it?
Yeah, HAP is a type of MOV file.
Okay, so here's a question. I take it that the movie file, like, what would you do to the movie file before you put it into the batch converter? Like how would you make it
Good question.
alpha?
Okay, check this out. I got Final Cut X up here. And look at that.
Bam. Okay.
DJ Thru.
Yes.
So if you don't know, I don't know how long this has been out, but Final Cut added a bunch of 3D text animators that are titles up here to the left. And you can drop those in on your timeline and customize them. So I just made this one, DJ Thru, and it'll like kind of roll in.
So where did you get the title? It's just like an extra add-on or something you bought, or?
No, it comes with it.
So you just go what? File new title and it shows up?
Yeah, you just go up here to these buttons and you've got titles and you got different variations that you can pick from.
Okay. I
So
have
this
Final Cut and I barely ever use it.
This one is the tumble.
Okay.
I don't feel like I ever see anyone using these, but they're there for you.
Yeah. Okay.
The thing about these is it's text only. So, I mean, automatically you're thinking, well, I really want to use my logo with this because that'd be hot. But the only way that you can get around it as it works now is if you can take a vector file of your logo and make a custom font of it. So that would be one way to do it.
Okay. So,
but I don't think it's going to break up into all these pieces. Maybe it would. I've never tried it. I feel like I've seen somebody do that before, though.
Okay, so you went to your timeline and you put in a new title, and I guess you could just type that in anywhere. Where'd you type in to tell it what it was?
All I did was just drag it down like this.
Yep.
And it pops it in there.
And then where did you?
Over here in the type.
Oh, okay.
You get different things you can change.
Sweet.
Yeah. So from here, you would do some sort of save. It took me a minute to figure. I did this earlier, so it took me a minute to figure it out. Get rid of this gray thing. Now it won't go away. Share. So I'm gonna have to make a few adjustments here. So in the settings, so that you get the alpha channel out of this, you set it to ProRes 4444.
And there's nothing that says video plus alpha? There's nothing like that?
Mm-mm. Because this generator is just over nothing, if you save it as a 444, it'll keep the alpha as it stands.
Okay.
In the file.
So that's making some bells ring for me, because I know that I could export an alpha file in my Adobe Premiere through the Arena, which is DVX or DVC or whatever it is, and then I would take that file and then put it into the batch converter that we just got so I could have it play in Mix Emergency.
Well, I would save, you could save ProRes 444 from Premiere as well.
Okay, but would there be any benefit versus the Arena file versus?
The Arena file is going to be compressed. So you want a non-compressed file before you go to a HAP, which is a compressed file. So you don't want to go from the Resolume compression to the HAP compression. You don't have to.
Okay, so 444.
That would be like 2 steps of compression. So you're trying to just keep it as clean as possible before you convert it.
So ProRes 444, whatever is stock. Like I don't
4
need to go down.
4s.
4444. Is it stock in my computer, or do I gotta go somewhere?
In Adobe products, it should be in there. You would go to QuickTime, and then you would pick that as your movie type, and then the different types of QuickTime, you would pick this Apple ProRes version.
All right, well, I'm loading that up right meow.
Okay, so I'm going to save this out. Did it go? That was so fast. Oh, and here it is, showing it to me. That's pretty
Well, that's
slick.
dope. That was quick, you know.
Yeah, it was so fast. Okay, so down here, I'm going to go to this batch converter. I'm going to attempt to. I'm running my PC over to my Mac Mini via Google Desktop.
PC to Mac Mini, Google Desktop.
Chrome Remote Desktop. That's what I'm using.
So you're operating a computer that's not in your office right now?
Well, it's next to me, but since I'm on Zoom on the PC, but I'm controlling the Mini that's next to it.
So geeky.
Yeah, it's kind of confusing, but I thought I'd probably need to switch back and forth for this talk.
Got it.
Now, if I could just get the batch converter to come up. Maybe I need to shut it down and restart it. Okay, there it is. So now I just drop that in, I believe. And then you have some settings you can mess with. And so I don't want any audio because audio is not going to play through Mix Emergency. But I do want the file, so it's a transcode. Gives you some qualities, settings. So here's where you pick it. HAP plus alpha. Now, there's also a HAP Q plus alpha, and that's a newer one. And I feel like newer versions of Mix Emergency are having trouble with this Q version. So I haven't been encoding with it. I've been encoding with the older version.
I've had,
So
I've had like no success with the HAP Q.
Yeah, HAP Q seemed to work for a little while, and then it just cut off. And I've had some people saying, hey, I've switched systems, it no longer works. And so that's probably the deal. You just need to convert it from Q to standard.
You know, Drew Pierce actually has a ton of overlays that are not working on his new computer, and I'm wondering if that's this. I wonder if that's the ticket. I don't know. Did he hit you up?
Yeah, it could be that, or it could be that he just needs to turn on the alpha check.
That would suck if that's it.
Yeah.
Turn on the alpha channel on where?
Mix Emergency, there's a little button that you have to click. Greg, why don't you show him since you have
Yeah,
that up?
we'll get to that. So let's see.
I'm over here jumping ahead.
So I made my alpha. I'm going to export it. All right. So now I've got my Mix Emergency Windows. So here's one that I exported earlier. I changed it a little bit.
Oh yeah, way
Yeah.
thicker. That's way better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
look at that action.
That's blocky. I like that.
And so if you have Final Cut X, this is there for you to use. Easy peasy. Lemon juice.
So, what was the turn on the alpha thing?
Okay, see this alpha blending button? If I turn that off, it's probably going to be black. Yeah, see that?
Oh,
So if he changed systems and is setting up mix emergency for the first time, you may not have that set. So you got to turn it on.
what's the quick key to get to the samples? Is it Apple 5, Apple 4? What's the? Does that come up in the? Is there a quick key to get that window you just had up, or is that like in the settings?
It's this little pencil.
Oh, just a pencil. Oh, okay. Oh, you have to do it per sample.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And another thing that I think people might get messed up on about the sample player and mix emergency is if you know, like you go in here and I'm going to scale this up like, oh, this is really big. And then it's too big. But maybe you scaled it up on something that needed to be scaled and then you drop something else in and it's like, well, why is that all wrong? So you need to go in here to the pencil. I may need to move this up. Ah, man. I need to go ahead and just turn that off. So I'm right clicking, but I guess that would be a control click.
Yeah, control.
I think it's control click. But if I
don't think it's on loop either, so that way it's going away. It's hard for you to see it when you're trying to scale it. I always put stuff on loop when I'm scaling, and then once I have it where I need to be, if it's just supposed to be like a trigger, then you take the loop off.
Right. So see how you can go here and hit reset, and then it's going to zero everything back out to default. And I feel like the default is now alpha blending, so I'm not sure, but I would check this button if someone is having trouble with their stuff being black. That would be the one.
I can't believe how quick that was.
I know, it's pretty slick. Apple got something right for once.
There you go.
And let's see, do I still have it up? Yeah, check it out. Like the way that this looks, they've got all these ways you can tweak it. See if I can pull this down. Well, I had it earlier where I changed to this kind of chromey look, and there's all kinds of different ones that you can do. I feel like it's over here that I can't see it. Move this window. Yeah, down here. See this? Brush circular. They've got all these different types of textures.
What does that do?
Check it.
That's exciting.
It's pretty cool. So here's one that's just kind of like spacing out, fading away. Here's a tumble. That's what I did before. Here's a scale. So yeah, if you have Final Cut, mess around with that.
Yeah, I actually, why don't you make me one real quick since it was so fast?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Okay, let's do that. I thought I did. See Thru, that's your name, right?
I'll use it.
DVJ King.
There you go. Nice.
You like that font? You want a different font?
That's good. Can't believe how quick that was.
Let's save it out. If I can remember how to do it. Share.
You know what this is, Greg? That with Final Cut Pro, with what you're doing now, this is just that secondary. You remember that secondary program that they used to give you when you bought the whole pack? All they did was just push that whole program into Final Cut.
You're talking about with the studio bundle?
Yeah, there was that. What was the name? I used to make all the. Do you remember, Scott? Do you remember all my edits where I used to have the freaking like the names and stuff on the edits? I used to do like bubble names and things like that.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
Yeah, there was a secondary program. I don't know why I'm like, because it came with like Final Cut, Motion.
Yeah, it was Motion.
No, it wasn't Motion. It was another one. It was just specifically for like doing animated text. And
I thought it was just Motion.
No.
This predates Motion.
Yeah, well, no, because like once Final Cut 7 came out, this was bundled in. They bundled Motion in with it, so you get Motion and Final Cut, and it was like 2 other programs, but this one specific program was specifically for creating animated text. And what they just did with Final Cut Pro, the new versions, they just took away that program and just built it into Final Cut. So all those things that you're playing with right now, those all used to be a separate program, and they just enhanced it.
Nah.
It's gonna bother me all day that I can't remember the name of this program.
I thought it was Motion. I don't remember the one that did just text.
Something like Excite Type, but that's not it.
Yeah, not Excite Type. In Mixing Lab Season 1, all those overlays and stuff that I did, like that was all through that program. And that's on my tower, which is sitting in storage, so I can't, couldn't even boot it up and tell you. Maybe if I Google Final Cut Pro 7 bundle.
Oh, it's still see-through.
See-through.
It was not called see-through.
I think I picked the wrong one. There it is.
So in essence, if you were going to do like somebody moving or something, what would you do? You just keyframe around and then delete out the background and then export it out? I mean, you would probably want to pick something that wasn't moving a lot, right?
Oh man, you're jumping so far ahead.
No,
Yeah.
is that too much? I'm not a big fan of keyframing. It takes so much time.
Well, I was going to start with something like really simple to talk about.
Okay, what do you got?
And you may want to talk about this too. So I'm just in Photoshop. And so we've got this logo and we want to try to key it out basically, but you see that it's on black. So a way that you can kind of get around this.
Oh, I don't see your screen. Like,
you don't, oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I need to go back to Zoom and share a different screen.
Share the right screen. I'm just playing.
If I can get Zoom to work.
Well, yeah, no.
How about this
there
one?
we go.
All right. So I just duplicated the layer and now I'm going to make a mask on it. Do you understand how that works, the masking thing? So like if I did this and I fill that with black, this is my mask in that area. Does that make sense?
All right, do that one more time.
So I'm not on the layer, I'm on this mask part, so I can paint it.
Okay, how did you add the mask part?
This little
Okay,
box
cool.
down here. What is this thing called?
Yeah.
It says add vector mask. That's not what it is. But anyway.
I got it. I spent a bunch of time on mask with Premiere, like these last couple projects I've been doing it, and I was doing it backwards the whole time because I hit the invert button, and I was like, why can't I add another one? Because I hit the invert button to get it to work, and I was like, yeah.
So a lot of people might use a magic wand to do something like this, but check it out. So I'm going to just copy this, and then I'm going to option click into this box. I'm going to paste this in. So now it comes in black and white. So now I'm going to go to my levels, which is Command L, and you can sample this. So I'm going to try to make this. This is my white. So now I have a mask of just black and white.
Okay.
So there you go. It cuts it out. Now, this isn't the best example to, this is a pretty low res file that I just pulled off of Facebook real quick, but you get the idea.
You have the
Yeah.
high-res file.
Yeah, I know. I was just using this as an example.
Shit. Might as well use the high-res. Make it look.
I
Then
thought it
I'd
was
have
just
to go
because of,
get
you
it.
shared the screen and it was low res.
Okay. All right, okay. You might as well just lose the text underneath.
I might have to go open up some secret emails or something.
We don't want that.
Yeah.
We don't want
But
we don't want the 6 people watching to know all the trade secrets.
well, they're going to come back and watch this like a dozen times, I'm sure.
I know Scott is.
All right, so I'm going to save this over to my mini. Maybe. Okay, so I recommend using a PNG file. I'm going to save this over, and then we're going to jump back to the Mac. Okay, you can see my screen again.
Yep.
All right, so I'm going to pop this in here to. Is it going to work? It's not. There it is. Okay, so I got this in here. So if you want to do a simple animation from just a still image, Mix Emergency can do that for you. So you got this timeline thing here. So see, I can move it over, and then you add a keyframe. So the idea here is it's going to move across the screen. I may have to set this on loop so I can see if it's actually doing anything. And I may have to actually be playing something for this to
No, I
work.
think you just have to trigger it.
And it doesn't seem to want to go.
Play mode. No, you don't need to override the BPM. Go back to the mode, the duration, where it says duration. Or that, yeah. No.
There you go.
No, that's not working either. I think I need to play something.
Oh, it's got to be gridded to something.
No, it should be able to just go.
It should be able to just work by itself, but
Yeah,
maybe
unless you want it to be to a beat, that's when you would need to play something.
That's hot. Flush the floor mat.
I'm gonna try. Yeah, this isn't working either.
What's going on here? There's no grid on that one.
Yeah, I don't think there would need to be a grid
You
for it to just
shouldn't need a
go.
grid. You shouldn't have to play anything either. You should be able to just execute it. Go back to the mix emergency sampler window. Open up the edit. Normal blend. No, that's your start and end point.
Yeah, what if you didn't have it on 16 and put it on like 2 or 1?
Well, he had it on 1 before. It still wasn't. Yeah.
Oh,
Take it off beats. Go back to duration.
I don't know.
There it goes.
What'd you do?
What's the
I
last?
turned it. Override duration.
Override duration. Oh yeah, that's.
It's always something, man. It's always something.
So that way you can animate something, and you can also
Now you
use
know you
that.
can go to the scale and you create 2 points in the scale and make it kind of also be changing size, right?
True that. And you can use that on this kind of stuff as well. So if you had like a spinning logo, you could have it spinning across the screen. So it's not just like one thing. You get multiple things out of a single HAP file.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, cool.
Now what?
I don't know. You let me share my screen real quick, and you do the next one. After, like, I was just gonna go over a border.
Is anybody who actually is watching have any questions? Oh wait, there are some
yeah.
questions.
I went over the questions. It was just someone looking for the shortcut to the sampler thing, and then someone else was looking for, I don't know. Yeah, they got it all figured out. I don't know. What's next? You want to show them how to do a border, a motion one?
A motion border?
Yeah, if you were gonna, put something that was just up all the time. I mean, you could do like a Photoshop one, like that doesn't move.
Well, that would be just like doing this. There it is.
Well, how would you like create one? No, like, oh yeah, like a border. Like that's just like that's an image. I mean, I guess you could leave that up like that.
All right. Let's see.
It's no different. You take the border that has the mask already on it, and you drop it into the sampler, and just click on it, and boom, it's up on the screen.
All right. Anybody got questions?
Are you seeing my
Yes.
Photoshop?
Yes.
Yeah.
So
was that a 1080, 1920 by 1080?
No, this is just a 1280.
1280.
So I'm gonna make another layer, and I'm gonna fill it with the color, and let's just say I'm gonna put that in there.
Sweet.
So I've got this selected, and then I hit this. Then I need to hit Command I while I'm selected on the mask, just to invert it. So there's your border.
Bam. Sweet.
It's gonna make all the VJs go crazy when you put this border on. It's gonna be hot.
Well, that's where people put their logos and their freaking call signs and stuff.
Really?
Gonna put your.
Well, I mean, they'd make a little artsier than that, but yeah.
Put DJ Thru all the way around.
Yeah, man. It's like, ooh, look at that. That's hot.
That's great, man.
I'll put this down here, kind of like a little on, a little off. Got a video showing through there.
Perfect.
Just like the pros do. All right, now what?
Why don't we talk about if somebody has an animated, like an animated overlay video file, how to take that file and make it add HAP to it so they can use it in a mixed emergency.
Yeah,
Okay.
how would you create? Yeah, something like it's already made.
Well, King wanted to know about Baby Yoda, so we could kind of start talking about
I'm
that.
gonna bring up Baby Yoda.
Yeah.
Josh Carl showed up right at the moment we said Baby Yoda. All of a sudden I see, yo.
Yeah, how would you do that?
Well, I'll show you.
You did it with Cinema 4D?
Partly.
We're going into uncharted territory for most of these guys right now.
Okay, so this is Cinema, and I made the his crib.
Pod. The pod. It's a
Yeah,
pod.
whatever this thing is.
It's a damn pod.
So, and I took this and then exported it over to Element 3D in After Effects. So to make that whole process a little easier as far as texturing and moving things, I just go in and assign simple colors to each piece. Any questions about that?
Cinema 4D
Right
to
now
me,
they're still trying to figure out what Cinema 4D is.
yeah, Cinema 4D to me is uncharted territory.
Cinema 4D Lite actually comes with After Effects, for those that don't know.
Yeah, they put
Ah.
it together, right?
And I'm not sure how much functionality you lose, but it's in there. And
Is it bad that I used the version that Matthias gave me like one time?
It's as bad as you want it to be.
How long did it take you to make the pod?
I think I spent like an hour on it. I mean, I'm no modeler by any stretch. This is just some real simple geometry. See if I can turn some layers off so you can kind of see it. Or I could do like a line view wireframe maybe. So, with Cinema, you just, you go up here and you make a box, move it around, make a sphere, combine all the pieces together, and you got a pod.
Yeah,
It's just that easy.
I believe it. Oh, okay, so you put it in After Effects. Do they interchange like the project files?
Yeah. So I saved that as just a Cinema 4D file, and I will bring up the Yoda if I can find it. I think it's just called Yoda.
Got it right there.
All right, can you see what's going on here? So there's my scene that I originally made for this, and then I've got the Yoda come up, so he raises up.
Your rendering is pretty phenomenal.
I don't know, this feels pretty slow, but
For me, it would be choking right now.
Scott would get an error saying, please come back tomorrow.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, expect a text message from Josh Carl requesting this file.
yep.
You could get it on the 5th.
We need to dub Mel Brooks in there. May the Schwartz be with you. Spaceballs. No,
Yeah.
no one.
I'm with you. I see your Schwartz is as big as mine.
Yeah, right.
Does that make you happy?
Happy.
All right, there we go. Now we're cooking.
So break that down. Holy cow.
All right, so there is, this is my Yoda file. Now, this is pretty low res image of a GIF that I found, but what I did was do some stabilization on him to keep him from moving too much. And I think I use an image stabilizer in After Effects, and then I think I like tracked his nose maybe to just try to center him up so that he wasn't moving around, because the camera sort of pans around him a little bit. So I'm just trying to get it as still as possible. I might have some of the passes that I made on that too. Yeah, so I used Mocha, which is also bundled in After Effects. This, however, is Mocha Pro, and it adds some more features that aren't in the After Effects version.
Once you go Mocha, you don't go back.
It's true. One of the main things about the Pro version is the apply matte. All right. So I'll open this up so you can kind of see what Mocha does. So in order to mask this, I broke it up into different pieces and tracked them. And so basically I'm just trying to outline him to create that mask that also is moving. So like in Photoshop, you know, you're just doing it on one frame, but here you're doing it on a bunch of frames. This is pretty low movement though, you know.
Yeah, super low movement. I mean, this was very not complicated at all.
But you can see him kind of wiggle. And after this, I made a pass where I tried to get rid of that. So that is probably this one. So you look, if you look at this one, you see it doesn't shake as much. Let's see if I have a stabilizer. There's a stabilizer along here somewhere.
You see Drew Pierce merchandising.
Yeah, right.
All right, so on this, I added this black circle so that when he pops up, it's kind of in that area. And I'll show you what this looks like in Element. So there's my Baby Yoda, and he's just a 2D card, but he's in 3D space. So what I'm doing is I'm placing him inside the pod. So when you're looking at it,
there's depth.
it looks like he's actually in there, but he is totally not. And this is, you know, old Hollywood trick. They use this on all kinds of stuff. Like they'll have 3D models, but there'll be a 2D plate that they just put in, and it might be tracked to the surface of something to make it look more believable. But like, I think a good Star Wars version of this is at the end of Empire Strikes Back, you kind of see him looking out the cockpit window or something when the Millennium Falcon takes off, and it pulls away. That's just a 2D plate, and you can tell, you know, the further away it goes from the camera and kind of turns, you can see it's really actually flat. So this would kind of lose its realism if I tried to turn it in a way that broke it. So if I turn it this way, you can kind of see. That's not really working. But, you know, I added a little bit of a wiggle on here to make it feel a little more real than it was. So he's kind of, it's kind of floating. It doesn't break the effect.
Awesome.
Does that make sense?
Makes sense to me. Anybody have any questions who's watching? We're up to 15 live viewers. If you are watching on replay, then sorry, should have been here live.
Yeah,
So
there's no questions.
I can show an example of saving this out as a HAP.
Yeah.
Oh, so if you want to see where you are as far as your transparency or see-through in After Effects, there's a little button right here, toggle transparency grid. You can turn that off and you can see what areas are actually in your alpha.
Yeah, I see you added a shadow.
Yeah, you want to see how you put a shadow on it?
That just gave you more separation from.
All right,
Your
so
title.
that it's when I'm playing it like over a video or that title in the background, it you know, it's not a hard edge. It gives it some separation. And the way I usually do that is instead of a drop shadow, I'm using an outer glow, change it to multiply and set it to black. And then you can adjust your settings to fit.
Oh,
So I'm just gonna make a new comp. Oh, I think this is actually that. Okay.
Callan just joined us and he's asking, has anyone had HAP issues with Catalina? So we already talked about that, but we can revisit it in a little bit when we're done with this segment.
yeah, I'm telling him right now to watch the replay in case we don't get to it.
All right. This kind of starts late, so I'm gonna pull this in. Okay, so what I use.
We might have to go back to the few things we covered in HAP on the mixed emergency.
Yeah, let's
So
just do
you-
that when we're done with this. Let's, because since there's a lot more people who've tuned in since we covered that in the very beginning, let's just, we'll finish this, guys, and then we'll go back to mixed emergency and talk about HAP with the update with Catalina, because we talked about that in the beginning, but since everybody's asking about it, we'll talk about it again after Greg's finished showing us the rest of this Cinema 4D section.
Baby Yoda. Yoda.
Yeah.
So on the save, you could do this multiple ways, but you need to turn on RGB and alpha. And then I usually use animation just to keep it as, you know, the quality as high as possible before you would save it as a HAP. So if you were working on the Mac side, I think you would have to do this first. So this is an alternate thing that I'm doing rather than what was in Final Cut X, because X doesn't have animation as a codec. So you would use 4444, which you could pick here if you wanted. Whatever. Those are two good options. Another option is you can get this after codecs, and it has HAP built into it.
Which is what I would recommend anybody who has After Effects. This is probably going to be your most direct route to render something out in a HAP codec.
You want to put that in
The batch converter.
that in the chat, that link?
I put it in there.
Is there a charge for that?
Yeah, I think this thing is about $100.
Okay.
Let's see. Oh, look, it's $0.
No, it's an 89 for After Effects.
$89.
Or you could do an immediate coder. There you go. I like Media Encoder. I feel like Media Encoder is very, very, very robust and very solid.
So put that link in there too, so you can check those out.
Yeah, Media Encoder just comes with Adobe.
Yeah, it comes with Adobe. If you're using Adobe, any Adobe products, I think Media Encoder is the way to go. That's just my personal preference. Just because it's a pretty fluid and robust program.
So here on the codec, you got all these different flavors that you can do. Some of these.
I see there's like 3, 4, 4, 4, 4s.
Apple added some different flavors of those along the way somewhere,
Yeah.
but they're not in the standard version of After Effects. So
Okay.
if you needed this, here they are. It also has the mighty X264, and for people who have been streaming, you may recognize this codec here. Thing about the After Codecs version of this that I found is I couldn't get a 320 at a constant bit rate as an output, which is kind of a bummer, but that's on a different topic. So then I could save this out, and there you have your HAP.
That's dope.
What else are we covering?
You go back to Mix Emergency and cover the sample player, the alpha. So guys, when you're putting these samples in into your sampler, make sure you do have an alpha file that is that's recognized, and that'll be like another degree of checking to see if where the problem's at. But these are the things that go ahead. What are those?
This checkbox, just like if the checkbox is off, I don't have a background on this, so you could actually see what's going on. That would help.
All right.
Turn that off.
So yeah.
So if this is not checked, it's going to be black. If it's not playing at all, which may be the problem that people are having, try saving it.
Pierce, are you still here, Drew Pierce?
Try saving it as the original HAP alpha and not Q. Your files may be in Q, and I have a feeling that Mix Emergency is having trouble with those.
Yeah, and if you want a link for what he's got right here, it's very at the top of the it's like one of the first things we put in.
Yep.
To how to get to this.
It's not necessary to install the HAP codec on your computer now, but you could do it for safety, but it's actually built into Mix Emergency these days. Spaze has a legit HAP logo designed by me. He does. He's got a couple of them. What else?
I don't understand. Actually, the MVD spin seamless.move file works, but my other HAP files aren't. I don't know.
That's probably because that one was like just rendered out like a couple of days ago, so it's got all the newest settings, and his other ones are probably older. Probably just needs to re-render them.
Yeah, and make sure you're checking that box, whatever that was called on the Mix Emergency. I'll make sure the alpha file's engaged, right? Yeah.
I had somebody hit me up about an edit that I did this week. They wanted to see that, and it is along the lines of what we're talking about. So I was going to pull that up.
Still getting the black screen covering the music video. Well,
that might be the original file then. Like you'd have to go out.
You might have to re-render them with the new version of Mix Emergency and Catalina. Everything's in 64-bit. You might have to re-render them, and that's what these programs that we're dropping for you guys.
Yeah, and if you wanted that batch converter, that link is in the chat. And, oh yeah, so we'll just cover up the back step. Once you have it in whatever editing software that you're using, like either Final Cut or I use Premiere, when you export out, you want to export out in ProRes 444. Once you export out in ProRes 444, you put it into the batch converter for the HAP file, and then you make sure it's the older school HAP file plus alpha, not the newer school one. I guess that's not working. And then, you know, that's all the steps that we did. What do you got going on here? What's this madness?
So I did this edit the other day, and I had these ladies, well, this grandma coming in. It says poppin', and I was just watching people's stuff. I always thought the more interesting things was whatever was the most crazy looking, and I was like, well, I should just put some craziness in. So I was like, I did a search. I think I was looking for poppin' and music or something, green screen, and this lady
Wait,
came
was
up.
this green screened?
Yeah, this is a green screen. So I was just like, I'm gonna use this lady.
I wonder what
So
Juice has I could use green screen.
I think they have a few things. This came from Video Blocks,
Okay.
which is a pretty good resource and fairly cheap.
Is it a monthly charge?
It's a yearly charge. I think it's about 80 bucks.
Okay.
So let me see what I've got on this.
They've got a lot of After Effects templates too, right?
Yeah, I believe so. Okay, so for this lady, I used the Primat Keyer, which is pretty awesome. There's your before and after. That does not come with After Effects. The keyer that I recommend is if you go into your effects and presets and just search for key, you will see this is kind of like a bundle of a bunch of different plugins put together. So you got this key light, and it has like 3 things on it. I'm gonna drop that on. So see, it's got key light, key cleaner, and advanced spill suppressor. So if I turn this thing uses a lot of CPU, so if you don't need it, turn it off.
Can I put this in Premiere?
Premiere has a different type of keyer. It works pretty good.
It
This
has
one, yeah.
I'm having a hard time with my eyedropper. Like if I want to pick the color with my eyedropper, it won't do it right.
I always use key light unless I use Primat or something else, but I don't ever do any keying in Premiere.
Got it.
I don't think you're going to be able to pull as good a key in Premiere.
No, it's not good in Premiere, no.
So see, I just kind of sampled that green. Maybe I want to reset it and do it over here, perhaps. So like it looks pretty good, but then you go up here and do combine matte to see where you're really at. And I don't know if this will translate, but can you see that it's kind of gray, and then you have some grays in here?
You can just play with your shadow, right? Or your hold, your threshold, or whatever.
Your clip black, so I pull that in, and then I do that on the white, going the opposite way to kind of clean it up. So then you go back. Usually I'm using intermediate result.
She got a little green in her hair.
Yeah, so, and you'll see this on a lot of people who are using cameras with green screen, the DJs. You'll see a lot of green kind of spill. So see, you got this advanced spill suppressor. You turn that on, gone.
Wow.
And I don't know if there is something equal to that for OBS.
I don't know. Doesn't it take a lot of processing power to get it that clean?
You would think, but I don't know. So then you've got this extra amount of thing you can do, this key cleaner. And this is just like refining the edges. So see how her face is like kind of hard and then it's a little softer. And then you can pull that back. I don't know how well this is translating, but. So this kind of thing comes in handy with like hair. So this preset that starts with key light and ends with suppressor is a good place to start for doing keys. I feel like I started out using this and I had some sort of issue, so I used key light and then it was like, or I used Primat and it just knocked it out really fast.
So that's the one that, so key light's what comes with After Effects, and Primat is what you can go purchase.
Yeah, it's from Red Giant.
Yeah, Red Giant always makes good stuff.
So here's another thing that you can do. And this
yet another thing.
This works well with stuff that's not green. This is the extract. So you can pull this in and see her shirt is going away, but I can pull from the other end and then the blacks go away. So depending on what type of footage you have, this might work for you as far as making something transparent. Not working on this green screen footage, but you know, you use the keyer for that. But it might work good for something else. I use it a lot for doing sky replacements. And you can soften up these edges too down here.
I guess OBS has a chroma key filter.
It does have a chroma key filter, but I don't know if it has a spill suppressor.
Oh, okay.
Because that's two different functions. As far as other ways to do images, there is the roto brush. And I really hate the roto brush, as some people are really good at it and have the patience. I would rather use Mocha. But sometimes Mocha doesn't work, and this is what you have to do. So up here, you have the roto brush, and you think maybe double click on it.
Yeah.
So what if you were going to do something without a green screen?
Well, this would be similar, or what I'm trying to get going here to show you what you would do. See, I can't even get the roto brush to go because that's how much I don't use it.
A roto brush? Yeah. Yeah, yo.
All right, I open it and then I do this action. Okay. So see, you can paint sort of through here and see this pink line. This is sort of like a magic lasso. So I'm hitting shift and I'm going around and just adding all those areas. I got that green, so I'm going to hit option to see it goes red. I'm trying to get rid of that. Plus, add a little hair. Add this hand back in. Okay, so now if I go back to my comp, there she is keyed out. And you can see she's got a little bit of trouble here and there. This is probably not where you would use this, but I'm just showing you as an example. When you've got this pulled up, this is your area to show where the mask is. And basically you have to go a frame at a time and make sure that the roto brush is sticking to where it's supposed to be and not where it's not. Now, since this is a solid background and green, the roto brush works really good for this. Where it's not going to work great is if, you know, you got a background that matches closer to the subject, like a background's black, they're wearing black or gray or something, or there's like, you know, trees, you know, something where it's really hard for it to tell what the foreground is and what the background is. You're going to have to go in there and paint along with this thing frame by frame to make sure you're keeping it. And you have, you know, once you set this up, you have controls to, you know, feather it or whatever you want to do. So you can make a pretty, you know, decent alpha image using this method. It's just, it takes a long time. But if you have the patience and that's what you want to do, have at it.
There she is.
Here's another one. DJ Khaled. Do I have it installed? Doesn't look like I do. How is that possible? Well, I'll just point you to it. A Scripts has a ton of cool stuff. Some of it's cheap, some of it's very expensive. But if you're getting into After Effects, it's a good place to go. Composite brush. So this thing, you just sort of paint out the areas that you don't want. And a lot of times where you might have a harder time trying to do that separation, this thing works really well. And I'm showing you all these different methods of doing this because making an alpha of something is not a one size fits all type of situation. It takes a lot of different kinds of tools depending on what your footage is. But Mocha is what I usually go, but you know, Mocha's more like hard edge things. And when you're dealing with hair, then it gets a lot more complicated. But yeah, check this out. If this is something that you're looking to do, composite brush works really well. Sometimes, not every time. But if you're doing green, I mean, you're kind of ahead of the game. It's almost like it should be alpha for you beforehand, you know? Callan says, open your wallet. Oh, damn, there's 52 comments stacked up on this thing now.
Yeah, man, you've got them hooked.
Yeah, we're doing good. I've been keeping up with most of it.
Is there anything somebody wanted to, any other questions?
I'll give it a second. I'm sure somebody will ask something.
I feel like there was a lot of different things I wanted to touch on that was related to this. I mean,
You just got sidetracked.
I should have wrote it down.
I mean, it was kind of advanced, what you just went over.
And you can, you know, maybe I'm not showing you every step of everything to do here, but it's at least enough information, some keywords that you can pick out and be like, oh, this tool, I need to go look it up, that kind of thing.
That's how that's done.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
A couple of concepts to take away is Mocha is included in After Effects. Cinema 4D is included in After Effects.
I have a question. If you just wanted to show me how you render out a Final Cut real quick one more time.
Oh man, that's so complicated.
I figured that'd be easy. I barely ever use it. That's why I was like, oh, just.
Can you still see my screen?
Yeah,
Yes.
I can see. Yes, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Greg, is there a reason why you're not using Final Cut X, Final Cut Pro X?
Because Vegas has a scriptable timeline. That would be probably my number one thing. And Vegas supports custom frame rates. And Vegas has a BPM timeline. So many things that are good about Vegas. The way I edit, I've kind of distilled it down over time to make it quick. And so I want to get the most bang for my buck out of my time. And I feel like from A to Z in your project, as far as doing remix edits, Vegas is going to get you there the fastest.
Do you use compressor at all?
I mean, I've used it before.
Don't recommend it, or like for batch converting? Just media encoder, just use that.
I forget what media encoder is.
So,
You were just mentioning it.
oh, if I'm doing a bunch
Oh,
of
media
remote,
encoder as in After Effects.
yeah, you just,
Yeah, Beloved was hitting me up and he was having trouble because I had gone over my settings for Vegas and he was having trouble with playback and ME. So I think he was using media encoder, and on a lot of things I'll use media encoder. It's really good at keeping the color correct, I think. I haven't A/B'd it against, compressor lately just because I'm not usually doing things on the Mac side.
got it.
I like it because I can, of the batch converting, which now that you've opened my eyes to this other batch converter, but that's what I did, all those logo bumpers, and you just stack them all up. And I literally hit convert, walked away and let like 70 of them run.
So like if you downloaded a bunch of stuff from Digital Juice, you could just throw it in there and just let it run.
Yeah. So
Yeah, that would be good.
that's what I want. That's what I need to do with my, I actually have a lot of those overlay files that I want to do that for.
Yep, that's smart. Okay, so if I was going to save this out, I would do share master file, or that's Command E. And I'm going to pick source,
Yep.
Apple ProRes 4444, and save it
And
out.
that's it, right?
That's it.
That was way too easy.
But the thing about this that you got to take into account is this image is the only thing on my timeline. There's nothing underneath it. I don't have to key anything. This is just generating this 3D text. And so that's the only thing that's there.
Okay.
I thought of something else I wanted to talk about. Let's use this awesome image that you'll probably see on some people's streams, no doubt. Okay, I'm over in After Effects, and I'm going to bring in, no. This is as good as any. I'll say, I've got this in here and it's not transparent. So there is a tool called unmult, as in unmultiply. And this one is from Red Giant. So there you go. It just alphaed that out.
Is there any other tool that could have done that?
There's one that's built in, and let me see if I can find it. This thing that I'm doing here, I'm doing Command Spacebar, and this is a free thing from Video Copilot where it will let you search all your effects without having to just, you know, pull the menu down and kind of look through
Roll.
everything. Yeah, it's pretty handy. It also has this screenshot of your project that you can take. So like I got some different things in there.
Image file or a movie file? Just the one you're playing with.
Oh, this one right here, this is just an image file.
Okay, okay.
I feel like there's one of these that's built into After Effects. I'm just not putting in the right name for it.
You could technically put that into Photoshop and just take the black out, right?
I feel like this would work better.
Okay.
This thing is in there somewhere. Maybe someone's shouting it out in the chat room. They're like, yeah, it's
Not yet.
called this thing. Well, if I figure it out, I'll put it in there later. But this unmelt this is on the Universe, which is a Red Giant subscription effects package. It's a yearly payment. Comes with a lot of cool stuff. It's worth a look. So a lot of things, like if you put a lot of different effects on something, sometimes the background will just go black. And so you can put that unmult on there and get rid of the black background so that you can keep your alpha. Comes in handy. I was thinking about if I could actually clean up an animated GIF and show how that's done. Like you see this Snoop one all the time.
You're about to
That
give
one.
away Res Q's tricks.
That's pretty ragged. Well, I was thinking maybe I could show how to make it look a little nicer. Maybe. You think animated GIFs are tricks? Yeah, see, this one's not even transparent. And where you would have some issues is where this sleeve comes off the edge. If I used extract, not that one.
Well, if you take the white out, his arms are going to go away.
So you got that part of it. So this may be where you would come in and use Mocha. This happened in a previous tutorial where I lose my effects window. And Crush said, oh, it's right there. And I'm like, where? It's like right here somewhere. I don't know. But I could demonstrate Mocha anyway. Oh, there it is. Look at that. Okay, so if I wanted to keep these white sleeve parts, so you got Z to zoom, and you got X to move
Look at those
around.
pixels. Oh yeah.
So I'm gonna go in here and just kind of make a rough shape around the sleeve. And now I'm going to track. It's broken already.
Yeah, it doesn't like it.
One frame. Yeah. So see, that's not gonna work. That's a bad demo right there.
Yeah. You've got a pretty low res file too. It's hard. I mean, that's a lot of.
I bet I could track this maybe. All right.
Nope,
Yeah, it worked.
barely.
And you can go in and fix this, but if my main goal was to just, you know, keep that white part, it'll go ahead and make a keyframe for you where you change it. So close this out and save it. I'm gonna apply matte, but invert it. Oh, I was thinking I was doing that sleeve, but I was doing this part right here. So just to show this a little better. Nope, it's locking up. All I did was create a solid and it said, nope.
He's got no arms.
It said, nope. That's what you get for working on these low-res files. Wonder if I could do it one with this. So where are we at? We got any more questions?
Doing good so far.
Spaze says, not working with new ME332. I just bought it yesterday and it was working with previous ME271. And yes, I do have alpha blending checked. So it sounds like those need to be re-rendered.
When does it stop? It never stops.
I guess I could check in with Nick and say, hey, why does this not work with HAPQ anymore? And maybe he would know. Because everybody seems to be having the same issue. And that's real low res right there.
Well, it's a good thing we have a community of people to figure this out.
All right, see that? Just taking that blue right out. And then you lose a whole lot of other stuff too. So definitely not the best way to go on that one. This is where that composite brush would really work great. If
Yeah,
only
because it's
I had it installed. You might be able to get away with doing a key on something like this.
because it's not a drastic.
Yeah, not too bad. So here you're cleaning up your background, and then with this one, you're defining what you want to keep. It's not working great, but see, and then the color shifts, and then you're all screwed.
Couldn't you just mask around that a little bit?
You could. It takes time.
It does.
Yep. Depends on how bad you want it. I don't know how bad you really want this really trashy gift, but you know.
How bad do you want this file?
How bad do you want it? I know you were talking about the keyer that's in Premiere that Joshua Carl has had really good luck with it in animations. It seems to work well, where it's just like a solid color. And I think you could stack it up and like, I'm going to key this color, I'm going to key that color, I'm going to key this color, and then just get rid of the background, you know, as many colors as it would take and still keep your front image on screen.
Oh, my keying in Premiere, like the eyedropper just gave up on me. So I have to actually do a screenshot, put it in Photoshop, get the color number, and then put it back into Premiere. Like I copied the little code on the bottom, what the exact color is. So annoying.
I feel you.
I don't know if it's like an update that they like a glitch or something. It's annoying.
I just thought I could point out there's some different keying tools within After Effects. There's this inner outer key that is sometimes nice. So see this edge feather. So that's something that could clean up like really hard looking GIFs. Like if you have one that's already pretty good transparent wise, you could go in and even, you know, thin out the edges a little bit and pull it up. Because a lot of times you'll see sort of a halo going around. So this would clean a lot of those up. You know what I'm talking about, King?
Yeah, kind of.
Where you'll see kind of a hard edge that's probably like white around the GIF.
So it just blurs it.
Yeah, this would clean it up. Let me see if I can find an example that would kind of illustrate what I'm talking about.
Look, somebody already green screened it. Nice.
Yeah. Look how small it is. Oh, you see this one's got some issues.
That's ghosting. It was probably a college project. Today we're learning keyframing.
I'm curious about this one, so
That was ghosting, bro.
I know, but I want to see. Sometimes those artifacts aren't actually there.
Really?
Yeah. Just depends on the way that the playback is. They're not all created equal. Kind of like HAPs.
Let's take a look.
Oh, that looks mean. Nope, they're there all right.
His face don't look clean at all, man. I don't.
Let's try this one.
Don't you have like a full copy res of like a high quality of this video?
I think I have a decent one, but somebody went in and like actually colored this one because the video's black and white.
Yeah.
Trying to find a good Snoop gif. I didn't think it would be so hard.
You should be doing like Darth Vader or something.
What I really need is one that's transparent. Or see-through, if you will.
Yeah, y'all. Oh, that's cool.
That looks like it's supposed to be transparent. Let's see.
I don't know about where his legs, they look funny. Guess we'll see.
Oh, big hole right there. Still a hole. And another hole.
Oh, that's funny how it does that. It's every other frame or whatever.
Okay, so this is the thing I was talking about with the edge quality. See that kind of stair-steppiness?
Yeah, you can feather that, right?
Yeah, so I could come in here. To keying, inner outer key. And then just feather that up. And maybe shrink it. Oh. I think there's a different tool that's sort of like this. Maybe Matte Choker.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, see? I didn't even do anything. I just put it on there. So all you guys with your rough looking GIFs, you totally clean them up.
Oh, yeah, to clean up between the legs. I knew there was something going on over there.
You could go in here and make some pieces if you really wanted to.
Oh, that's all you would do?
Just take the pen tool.
Just put a little square right there on every
Yeah.
frame. That's
Just fill that in right there. So then I would need to turn it off on this frame. So I'd go hit T for transparency and make a keyframe.
C for three see-through.
No, T. So there's on and then So then you would also want to animate your mask. So you go in here and you make a keyframe for that. So keyframe here, and then my next one, and you go in here and tweak it.
What's going on with his hand in this shot? It looks weird.
It's probably some blended frames. The resolution's not enough to really show you what's going on.
Oh, you did that pretty quick. Jeez. That's all it is? You're just jumping from frame to frame and just moving those dots around?
And seeing, I don't even need it on that one.
That was quick. I thought that was going to take longer.
So here's a shortcut. If you hit U and you have keyframes, then it'll only open up the parts that you are editing. So I'm just using the opacity and the mask. So here it gets off. So rather than animating that each time, I'm just gonna turn off that frame. Bring down the opacity until I need it again. So I need it there.
How would you do 2 different squares like that? You just drop in some more?
You could add another mask on this layer, but I'd probably just make it a different layer for it specifically.
Another layer?
Yeah. Yeah, it's not the greatest, but yeah. Look at those edges, though.
Those are some nice edges.
I mean, compared, see, I mean, are you seeing that?
I see it. I see it.
Those edges.
That's clean, bro.
Come on, man, clean up your edges. That's what I'm saying. Okay, here's another tip that I thought of talking about edge quality. When you're using Mix Emergency, it's best to use your graphics 1-to-1. That way you don't get all these stair-steppy edges if you shrink them or if you scale them up. You definitely don't want to scale them up, but even if you're shrinking things, it's gonna look rough on the edges. So your best bet is to render out to the size that you're gonna use. It's gonna look so much better every time. Got that, King?
Yeah, man.
Am I
After
losing?
Effects, man, is like, just trying to get my mind around it.
So anybody else have questions? 71 comments.
Yeah, man. A lot of hype for today.
When does a special guest come on, E? Did I already miss it?
No, 12 minutes. Well, I was actually about to like jump on and say we got 10 minutes left.
Are you going to announce who it is?
Hell no. Why would I do that?
I mean, you know, for
We have
this.
there's very little surprises on the channel. Why would I ruin like one of the only few?
The 10 people hanging in with us. It's like exclusive info right here on the channel.
There's actually 62 people on the channel right now.
No, I mean in this live session.
Yeah, in this live session.
This is like training before they go onto the Twitch channel. It's like, ooh, let me do my training, and now I'm up. You know, like it's just only going to get better and better every week. Everybody's set's going to be crazy.
I can say with full confidence it is not DVDJ ill.
Ill?
It's not DJ Crime. And not, who else? It's not Eloy.
E,
Well-
have you found some more people to fill out the schedule? Are there more people coming on? How's that looking?
Oh yeah, we only have about, in the whole 168 hours in a week, I think there's only somewhere around 19 or 20 hours left to fill. And right now I just have After Hour Assassins overnight. So, but that's not supposed to last forever because that's a lot of pressure to fill all that time every night. And I don't expect anybody to ever stay up all those hours. So, big shout out to After Hour Assassins for coming through in the clutch. And if you search After Hour Assassins, you won't find anything. It's a group that came together to help me out for overnight stuff. But we are looking for more overnight guys. But I am getting closer. Like Neros is helping me find some guys in Asia, and I've got somebody in Australia getting me a couple people. I've got somebody. I've got a guy who's actually going to be on Saturday late night. Tonight late night, early Saturday morning from South Africa, and he's got a couple guys in Africa that he's trying to rope in. So I think maybe another week, and we should hopefully have most of those spots filled in.
Sweet.
Any sets that you were blown away by this week?
I loved Tashi's set for
Yeah.
sure. Tashi's set was unbelievable. He's just amazing. I really enjoyed Suicide's set from Wu-Tang Clan. Another late night.
Oh, I didn't see that one.
You'd really like that. It was all like Wu-Tang style hip hop, but all sorts of different artists, like stuff you might have forgotten about. So all video. Yeah, he's every week. I'm gonna be redoing the calendar like graphics over the weekend, and I'll have new ones for starting Monday. So we'll have our newly revised printed schedule for everyone. And anybody who wants to volunteer their services to help me with the website, I'll be more than grateful. Yeah, I think the set that's coming up in 9 minutes should be really good too.
King, what about you?
What about me?
Did you see anything cool?
Dude, your set was great. I didn't get a chance to, I didn't know all the different things that you did. I was like, damn, how is he doing that? How is he doing that? Yeah. That was impressive.
I really liked Rich Salazar's set on.
Yeah, the New
Tuesday.
Jack swing set, that was good too.
The thing that I really liked about it is it was not typical, and it kept me wanting to watch it to see what was coming up next.
Yeah, absolutely. I just got to give props to everybody, man. Everybody's been bringing their A game and trying hard to put on a good show. I mean, Pop Rocks, like even though a lot of us have already seen that stage, like he just came with energy the whole time. He just literally like put on a show for everybody, and he didn't need to do that. He could have just kind of kicked back a little bit more and saved the energy for his show, but he decided to kind of go all out. All the French DJs are definitely stepping up and showing us some things to do with live streaming that none of us are really accustomed to doing. I mean, I don't know if you guys saw Oxygen set today with all the great. He did all electro swing, and he did Great Gatsby, like all these like Great Gatsby scenes, and it was cool. Like, and obviously Rescue sets the tone with all that stuff, with all his crazy scenes that he's building out. But it just shows you how far you can really go if you want to put the time in and create some stuff.
Yeah, Boogie B had a lot of scenes.
Boogie B and High Noon put on a great show.
Yeah, it was really cool.
I'm definitely looking forward to see the Larry and Paul show tomorrow night. Larry D and Paul G. That's gonna be I think that's gonna be a lot of fun.
King, what do you know about the Larry and Paul show?
What do I know about their show? They haven't told me much about what they're doing. I should probably give them a call. I did get a.
Just from the name of it, it sounds like a talk show.
Oh no! I got a screenshot of what their border is going to be, so I thought that was kind of cool. I mean, it won't.
I could just picture it starting with Muppets for some reason.
Probably, yeah, probably. But yeah, I'll be excited. I'll make sure to tune in for that one.
Yeah, you know, there's a surprise guest tomorrow too.
Cool.
Is it Crush?
It is not. Crush might take the last hour of my set tonight.
Cool.
He might go on at 11 Pacific, 2 a.m. Eastern. Oh no, yeah, that's right. Yeah, well, yeah. No, yeah, 2. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's
2
been-
You
a.m.
definitely called it last week. Called it.
yeah,
Totally.
I did. So I put the two of you guys on each side of them.
We are the
Yeah,
Crush couple.
right.
All right, cool. Well, let's end this so everybody can jump back over to the channel because we got that guest starting in about 4 minutes.
All right, cool. Yeah,
So
we have questions.
thanks, guys. Next week we'll dive into OBS.
Cool.
Sweet.
Alrighty.
Take care.
See ya.
Bye.